working on something new.
Been hearing the dealer in the saloon deals from the bottom, if you know what I mean.
We got tarot with reversed cards. That's a reversed Ace of Wands. Then you have the Knight of Wands, and you have the Hermit reversed. You could read that as, you've been a little nervous about getting started on something. You're a little reserved. You're not quite yet willing to move into what you want to get started with doing. You're worried about your reserves of energy, that kind of thing. It's just a little bit of a hesitation. You're feeling a little empty. But, now it's time to move forward and take that action. So you got to convince yourself, and you got to take charge of yourself. And you got to get moving. You got to just do it, And, this kind of action, it's sometimes what that last card, the upside down hermit, is saying is that the time for contemplation and isolation may be over. It may be time to look at being more of a person of action, more taking charge and kind of getting things done and doing things instead of pondering it. The time for reflection has ended. And now we have another thing here. So crates, you can have 2 now. 2 crates in your inventory. And you can, of course, still do everything. The crates are always droppable. So you put it down, and there it shall stay for 2 days with all your stuff in it. Now, the other thing that's big new thing is special items. So you can create an item, and what that is you go in your notebook. You use your notebook for creating notes, as always, like a reminder list. But let's say I wanted to create an item. I would come in here and I would say, okay, what is the item called? And we could say it's an amulet. Is that how you spell amulet? Amulet of desire. And then you type whatever you want about it. Like this is a rare gem encrusted brooch with a long history of pirate theft and royalty. It is said to confer the power of attraction upon anyone who holds it. Its value ranges from 600 to $1,200. Okay, so you have it. You made a note about this. Now, if you open the note, you have an option to create a special item. And if you do that, it creates it for you. And then you go in your inventory, and there it is. You've got this item called an Amulet of Desire. If you open it, you get to see what it is. But the key is you can drop it. And it stays there just like a crate or a drop note. It'll stay there for 2 days. before it'll just vanish into the ground. But anyone can then find and pick it up, and then they have it in their inventory, and they can open it up and go, oh my God, I own the amulet. So you can use these things for storytelling purposes and leave them around or hand them, say if you are in possession, or make a thing, some sort of a medallion somebody has to have on their person if they go and they meet somebody and they have to show that they have this, and that only then will they be trusted. That kind of, you can do things like that. Or you can even use them just to leave notes that, because most notes, notes live in the notebook. So if you take a note, a regular note reminder, and you drop it just as a dropped note, that note never lives in the inventory as its own thing. When you pick it up or anyone else picks it up, it goes straight into the notebook, okay? But if you were to say a reminder of things to do, I want to create a special item, then you get it in the inventory as a thing, and you can then drop it, and it is a special item, but it is essentially a note that can be picked up and put in inventory. There it is. It'll just be called a special item instead of a note. The other notes, when you open them, they say notebook. So it's like it's just gives you more power and flexibility in making things and leaving things around. I'm gonna pick my crate up because I want my crate. I got a bunch of stuff in it. Whatever. So, but now some other things I did is I made a few other improvements to. I mean, that's a big one. That making the crates able to be separate items. So in other words, if you have multiple crates, each one will show up just like each one of these special items is its own unique thing. Crates will do that too, and you can open up each one separately. And so that took a lot of work. But making the notebook able to create these items and have them, individualized items with their own stuff, that took a lot of work over the last couple of days. But I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I don't know where things need improvement, but it's working now, and I'm pretty pleased. So that's good. That's very good. Now I want to do one little check thing. Because I put rewards in for hunting today to make it more, the payouts, what you get, all that kind of thing. So I just want to go and shoot a damn thing. Yeah. Then mosey my way up and around and through here. Why are they intruding upon the horse corral? That's where the horses go. They ain't got damn deer's not supposed to be in here. So I have every right to take them down. Oh, God dang it. Why you have to be so sensitive? All right, so okay. Now I made it so you can you can put up to 6 hides on your horse instead of 3. Yeah, okay, I got meat out of that deal. You always get meat even before you go to the butcher. So I did that for a reason. I did that because I don't want people having problems. They need to get food. I mean, you can always pick herb, you can pick fruits from bushes, you can always survive. But I just thought it would be better to be able to, like, it's as if you went hunting, you took something down, and you took a little out of it for yourself and then brought the rest to the butcher to sell. That's the idea. Now, this one, I'm going to pick him up. The idea is you always get something when you bring an animal down, even without going to the butcher. To go to the butcher is what you do to get the full consequence, you know. So in this case, I skinned one, and it gave me 3 meats, and I have its hide on the horse. The other one I just took down, but did not skin, so it has not given me anything yet. So I'm going to turn everything into the butcher. So I will get paid for the hide on the horse. I will be given some more meat, and I will, for meat for the full carcass and the one I skinned. That's basically how it's working, I believe. I'm just trying to make sure there's no glitch I overlooked. But yeah, so you can always get something in your bags when you hunt, even if you can't find a butcher. You get raw meat, in other words, so you can find a fire and cook it.
Good evening.
I've been in tougher places than this.
I don't think I have to do a damn thing other than... Okay, now, now this one, notice the hide's still there. Now it's sold. See? So you just do it twice, and everything got taken off the horse, and it's all sold. And if I go back into inventory, God dang it, get away from the horse. I have 9. I got 3 more meats from the butcher. So I got money and 3 more meats from the butcher because I got, meat for that, the carcass, I guess, whatever. So anyway, that's fine. I think that works. I don't like a lot of complexity in the hunting thing. I think the hunting should be pretty damn straightforward. Now, fish, if you fish and they go into your inventory, you cannot sell them to the butcher. You can only sell fish that are like dangling, that you are holding to the butcher. But you can sell all your fish from your inventory to any general store. They have a fish department, so they will buy them. They will buy the whole fish from you. But the fish are the same way. So when you do the fishing, I believe, as soon as you catch the fish, if you keep it right there, you get some raw fish meat in your inventory. You don't have to sell the fish to get that. So it's like basically what I'm divvying it up. I'm saying, look, anything you catch or kill, you get a little something right then. And if you want more, then you have to go to the butcher's or the general store. So that's my little thing. And I gotta say, you know, I was looking at this is sort of a philosophy of role play. But I was looking at a stream last night, and they were going on a server that had a very skill-based system with menus and shit for choosing. It's like an RPG, like if you were to play like World of Warcraft or something. It's like, and you set your character up, but you set skills or skills you want to learn or master stuff. And there's a lot of, there's like, I don't know, there's like 20 of them, 25 of them. And you set these numbers and stuff. And it was confusing the living hell out of the streamer. And it was confusing the hell out of me watching. And I was just like, you know, there's a difference between an RPG, a role-playing game, and role play on a role play server. There's a subtle difference. On one, an RPG, you're perfectly content to set skills and set skill numbers and say, I want to learn this, this, or this. I want to specialize in this or that, whatever. Fine. But in a role play server, it's a different thing because you aren't really just playing an RPG. You are doing theater, you are performing, you are an actor, and you have to primarily focus your wits on the performance, the acting, the story. You don't want to be shuffling numbers around all the time. Menus should be very simple, quick, direct little things. They should come and they should go. Bing, bang, boom. Out of your ass, out of your hair. They shouldn't be entangling you every 5 minutes, making some choice, setting some value. No, 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 no. In my opinion, Wild RP, the well-known role play, they've gone off the rails a bit with their systems where they're doing for law. They've got a whole goddamn, almost like a massive set of forms and data and drop downs with callbacks and lookups, and it's like, what? God damn. And you know, they have to teach each other how to use this, and it takes days to show new people or people that they hire as deputies and stuff how to use this. You might as well be sitting these 1901 cowboys down behind a MS-DOS computer with an amber screen, and it's hard. It's hard to and I'm like, come on, man, you know, does this make the role player's job easier or harder? You know, to my mind, it makes the viewer's job harder. I was on Wild RP streamer watching them, and I realized, oh my God, all these streamers, every goddamn stream is this goddamn set of forms up in your face for 45 straight fucking minutes. And it's like, come on. So that annoys me. I'm like, come on, simplify, get. You don't need to show us your software development prowess. And that brings me to another thing. Software development prowess. We understand you can write your code. We get it. We don't care. Now, here's another thing about roleplay servers that I've noticed, because I've been bouncing around looking at various things, and, you know, some dramas happen. There was a drama happening a couple weeks ago on a roleplay server that I was watching people on, and some people left the server, okay? There was like a thing that happened. I didn't know what it was, but I got curious because I'm making a server, right? I want to know, how do these things play out? What happens with groups of people when they get involved with your server? What is this social dynamic? Everything's called a community, right? Communities are highly dangerous things. You don't want any fucking community. You know, communities can be a real bunch of fucking bastards who shit all over everything and drive you crazy. And you know what? You're not getting paid when you do this. Okay? So, but I got curious about this server that had this problem with these people leaving. And so I went on their Discord a couple days later and I was snooping around. And lo and behold, they had a meeting like a couple days after this shit went down. Some shit hit the fan and spat it out all over everybody. They had a meeting and they did it in one of their voice channels, and they made the audio file publicly available of that meeting in their Discord community. So I just listened to it. I played it. It was about 45 minutes long. And here's what I took from it. You have a dude, nice guy, because I did communicate with this person at one point. I was trying to offer a little help on some damn thing. I don't remember. Just normal sort of like, what is it called? Camaraderie of people. And I thought, oh, this is a nice dude. Well, apparently this guy started this roleplay server. I kind of think it was his. I mean, look, this roleplay server here is mine, right? I'm making it. I'm building it. Now, we all use open source. We don't use it in entire. We start with open source, just like we used to do in the early days of the World Wide Web, where you would find HTML and stuff, and you would modify and build upon that. As you were learning, you were teaching yourself by looking at the work of other people that was publicly available out there, and people all sharing everything right and left. And you can still do that. But and so that's how you taught yourself HTML, right? Anybody who went in and took a class in HTML is a fucking dimwit. Because all you needed was a search engine and a browser, and you could learn an entire career and suddenly get paid top dollar just by looking at the goddamn code under a web page. That's all you needed. Didn't need any school, no instructor, nothing. And that's how it is now with this. So this Red M stuff has this open source code that people share. They do it through Discord. They say, okay, here's a basic this or that, and you feel free to take it and do whatever you want with it, modify it, strip it all down, whatever. It's just a start. It's like you get a bare bones sort of down to the nitty gritty, just basic thing to start with. And then you're like, oh, you know what? This isn't any good. Now that I've learned by reading what they did, I can make my own and make it 10 times better. And so, or you can take a little bit of what is in that stuff and you can then expand way up upon it. And so it is fun. And it gets you in a good mood because you get on these Discords and you start talking to other developers and you share stuff. If they're stuck, you say, here's my code where I fixed this for myself. And you give it to them. You say, look, here, take it. Look at it. This is how I fixed it. Maybe it'll work for you. And so back and forth like that. It's very, very healthy. And it makes you learn very, very rapidly. So now, here's this guy who starts a web server, apparently. They call him a founder, right? Now, founder to me means fucking founder. It means I did it, I made it, I founded it, you didn't. Okay? So, if this dude starts wanting to do stuff, he's the guy. He's the founder, right? Now, of course, he started a community, though. Now, when you start a community, people that come in and join your community, they expect to be treated like a community. Okay? They don't expect they don't expect to be officers in a marching army. They are doing community. And so they start sharing, and that's what you do, just like I was talking about with the code sharing. They start sharing things. Now, you may get people in your community that are role-playing, and they are also developers. And they will say, hey, you know what? You could probably do better with your telegrams because it pisses me off every time I send a telegram. It's real slow. Maybe I should look at it and fix it. Well, you got to be careful who you show code to and allow into your code. Who do you trust? Just because somebody's on your server doesn't mean you should trust them with your code. Doesn't mean you should trust them on your server, on getting into the, the back end in your database. Doesn't mean that. In fact, people have been really screwed by trusting people and saying, I'll work on your server with you, and then they do something awful. So the fact of a founder letting other people in to work with them takes an awful lot of trust and an awful lot of it's a big thing for a founder to do. It's a big, hard thing to do, to say, I'm going to let other people start influencing the way this goes, where it goes, what we build, what the rules are. Should the rules change? Well, see, rules, that's easier, because the rules in game, how people are relating with their role play, yeah, that's a great area for community to play. When you're talking about actual functionality, how the server works and data, that's a more dangerous thing. And when you're talking community there, you got to really watch your ass when you do that. Now, I know this because I am a software professional, and I have been for 30 fucking years. And you need to be very, very, very careful. You don't trust anybody with data. I'm sorry. Especially people who aren't getting paid. If they are not on your payroll, you gotta watch your step, okay? So anyway, I don't care how now. So I'm just this back to this roleplay server that had the problem. This guy is founder, but apparently someone got annoyed, upset about something, and started wanting to do something that someone else didn't, or they wanted to do a different thing. And then people were getting pissy and not talking, I guess, and not knowing why somebody was doing this or that, or why somebody was mad. But then I guess this guy left his own server. I was like, what? How does a founder leave his own server? Well, I'm listening to this audio of this meeting that the other people at the server had. In other words, the server's other developers, and they have people that run the Discord community. They do things. These people work together as a sort of a, well, okay. So this is what's getting me to my point. I'm listening to the audio, and I'm like, why does this audio of these people talking about this problem sound more corporate than any corporate meeting I have had in the global corporate world? That I do work in the, yeah. Why does it sound here in this goddamn roleplay community more corporate than any meeting I have had in the corporate world involving global corporate entities for the past 20 years? How can this be? Now, when I hear that tone, when I hear that vocal mannerism that you only hear in a corporate office, you do not hear it anywhere but there. So if you are hearing it in audio from a roleplay servant site community, my assumption is somebody's getting paid, A. B, somebody's wanting to make a big impression that they are corporate. Because you do not talk like a corporation, really, unless you are one. I have found this to be almost a universal truth. So I'm sitting there listening to these people talk around in the polite, flat, slightly jovial way that people do in a corporate meeting room while looking up at a video screen. And it just stays that way. I mean, look, these are people doing this is the fucking cowboy running around on it, and we're role playing, and actors don't talk like corporations in the dressing room. So yeah, you know, look, maybe these people have jobs somewhere else. Maybe they work in the corporate world and they just can't drop it. I've found that to be very rarely true. People who work in corporations, when they come home, when they're doing other shit, everything just, they are not like they are at work. They just aren't. And because you don't want to be. You just don't want to be. Look at me. Look at me. Do you think I talk this way in a corporate meeting room? I mean, if I did, it would be lunacy. And of course I wouldn't. I'm acting right now. I'm doing two things here. Because this is the new world. This is the new streaming role play world where you're a director, a writer, producer, and an actor all at the same time, simultaneous tracks running. Now, these people have so I listened to this thing, and it got progressively more antagonistic. They started out real sweet about the guy who left. Started out real like, oh, I don't know. I can't imagine what was going on. It's beyond me. I mean, it was a little weird when he did this or when he did that, but then I mean, look, I'd be perfectly willing to talk some more and talk, but then they got progressive. You could hear the tone as they slowly got more. They got more and more hostile toward this guy who had left with these people. It got more hostile, and they were like, you know, well, I did think it was pretty, like, it didn't make any sense that he did this, and I thought maybe that was, and it's just started to get more and more like, fuck this guy. But you see, they were being so fucking corporate, they didn't say that. Now, and then the other thing I'm thinking is, okay, so what? So what if the guy got mad? He's the fucking founder. You guys ain't. I don't know what you guys are, but I can't. Maybe they are co-founder. I don't know. But they kept saying he was the founder. Well, if he's the fucking founder, then you guys ain't. You just ain't. And it just seems mighty presumptuous of me, to me, that a group of people would assume that it was their thing now. This is now our thing. And they kept saying, he's welcome back. He's welcome back anytime. He can come back. I mean, we're perfectly willing to talk. Really? Oh, you are? Are you? You are willing to talk to the guy who started everything. I mean, it sounded so fucking screwed up. I was just like, I mean, my jaw was hanging open listening to this shit. And then I was like, okay, so is this what community means on Discord? Is this what happens when you start a community and you bring fucking jackasses in who pretend they're working for IBM, Microsoft, and Facebook or Meta all in one big giant ball of yarn, and they're acting like they're all wearing their polyester corporate suits, Is this what it is? Because if it is, then we got to find something different. Got to find something different. And maybe the answer is don't be a community. Be a person who runs your fucking server. And if players come in, they play. Go find players, let them come in. And as soon as they start opening their fucking mouths about how things should not be, say, get the fuck out. Bye. Dinner's over. I mean, who gives a shit? Look, let me tell you. I don't need this fucking server. All I want to do is write code, make things work, and do what I'm doing. At this very moment, I'm sitting on the fucking horse, admiring my whole fucking environment here. I don't give a shit about anything beyond that. Now, I've started a whole Discord and everything. People can come in and join the server anytime they want. And if a lot of people come, then I'll have to expand it, and I'll spend money to do so. But if I'm spending the money... Now, okay, so here's the thing. If I'm spending the money on the server, it's mine. It's possible that in this other situation I've been describing, this guy took money from other people, like donations and stuff. And so maybe if you do that, if you take money from people and you say, well, in exchange for giving us the money, then you have decision-making power. Well, okay, that's probably a misstep. But if you say, look, you can donate money to run the server, and that's it. That doesn't give you anything. It just allows us to keep running the server, and I don't have to keep spending my money doing it. That's what it gives you. It gives you the server. It gives you the ability to count on the server being there for the next month, and you can play on it. That's it. Don't make any other assumptions than that. Anything beyond that, if you want to make some assumption, then bye. At the end of the month, just leave. Don't pay it. Don't pay another donation. Just leave. Okay? This all seems real simple to me, but so I got real curious about this fiasco or whatever it was that happened, and I was so interested in how these people at this server kept wanting to assure everybody that there was no real problem. They were talking just like a company whose stock has dipped. And so what it is their reputation, the reputation of a server takes a hit. And they feel like, oh no, now the word will spread that something went down here, and people might start assuming that our server's going down and we're closing. Oh shit. So I think that's the mindset. I think that's what's going on. And you I have made a success in life by not giving a good goddamn of a shit. You got to have some of not giving a shit. Okay? If your server takes a hit and people are like, what the fucking ass? So fucking what? You know what I mean? It doesn't... And this is the problem with communities on social networks now, like Discord. And you set up your own community. I set one up for Rip Roleplay. Sure. It's empty. Nobody's fucking coming because they're probably all offended at the way I talk or whatever. I don't know. Or they just haven't heard it. CFXRE, they want you to pay money to boost your server, which basically means they have a search thing for where your server is listed and they make money from people by saying, look, you boost your server, it'll knock you up in the list. It's like, okay, you fucking assholes. Okay, I see what you're doing. Well, whatever. Maybe at some point I'll boost the server, but I have not yet, because just seeing that little thing, come over here and subscribe in order to boost your server. And what? I don't even know what the prices are. They're probably like, if you want to, you have to pay like $25 a month and you get like 2 boosts, which means what? It boosts you up 2 names in a list of, what does it mean? I don't even know. So basically what I thought, you just have to do an end run around this. You just have to get something that shows up on Google, and I found that if you type Red M Roleplay, I do have a result, a blog post about this thing that shows up in like somewhere in the top 30, I guess. And but of course, you do that, and then you're just getting a general population who probably don't even know what Red M is. So that doesn't even really work. So really, the CFX people, they know the only people looking at CFX lists are people who want to role play on Red M or 5M, and so they've got you. They are your little. They are the only search engine. So they're saying you got to pay us. You got to pay us to show up so people can find you. Well, I'm just not convinced yet that I want to play that game because I think there's problems with CFX. They strike me as some very talented 17-year-olds. They're probably not, but they behave as if they are. This like 17-year-olds getting mad and bitchy and doing funny things like hacking their own stuff. So they get mad at each other and they hack their own stuff sometimes. They do things like Microsoft Paintbrush came up for everybody when they started Red M a month or two ago. And then because some guy got mad and said, okay, I'm mad and I'm going to show you how mad I am. So I'm breaking it for everybody for a while. And that kind of nonsense. But actually, if you think about it, that's more normal behavior than what you're seeing from the corporate little wannabes running these roleplay servers. I listened to a meeting at Wild RP. Same goddamn thing. The Wild RP people had a lot of their like superstar streamers, role players in the meeting with them. But I'm telling you, man, even there, you got that corporate mumbo jumbo-y. Well, how's everybody doing today? Well, good morning. I want to assure everybody that well, we've heard we've got some feedback, and I just want to say that at the end of the day, even after we've been out of pocket for a while, I want to just remind everyone here that down the road we will be implementing a new system for reporting marketing trends in the role play initiative. And, due to certain feedback we've had over the fiscal year, we've decided to move Project 41B forward by 3 weeks and back burner a few other projects that we feel are not necessarily our main concern at this point. Now, you will notice we sent out a memo last week reiterating these basics. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask, or you can start a ticket, or you can submit a form 79C. You do, however, have to include proper identification, and you must, now I have to remind you, you must include your driver's license, or at least a facsimile of your driver's license. Now, if there are any questions, I think Joe and Alice are waiting to respond to. They go on like that. They go on and on like that. I'm like, what? They have to be getting paid. I'm sorry, you do not talk that way if you're working for free. No fucking way. You aren't gonna fool me. You are making money. You're making money. You're making money somewhere, and you can't make money with this. You're not allowed to. But if you're talking like a corporation, somebody's fucking paying your ass, or you're expecting them to. Something's going on. And it really bugs me. It bugs the shit out of me because I'm doing this work for fucking free. Free. Absolutely free. Just for myself. And if somebody wants to come in and play, I would love it. Because you know what? This is a wicked fucking good server. It's got some shit in here that works way better than a bunch of servers I've seen streaming. Anyway, whatever. But I'm curious how all this stuff plays in the world of role play. Where are and so okay, so there's also other things here that come into play because you have role play servers where you look at the stream and it's like it's people doing this. Ooh yeah, ooh. You know, it's like, yeah, it's like it kind of has that quality. Ooh yeah, ooh, ooh. And they're just sort of being silly, and or they're doing this. They're over here, and they're like, and you know they're doing. Oh, they do a lot of this. With each other, you know, and you don't really want that. That's not the kind of server you want, but there are a lot of servers like that. And they kind of opened up and they're kind of like, well, we get people coming in and they love to just run around and be silly and hijinks. And that's, I think what happens is how the tone is set at the start is a key. And whether or not, okay, so if you open the server, you get, let's say you get 20 people in, and they're all doing that. Well, you have to be willing to just come through and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 20. Boom, gone. Bye, banned. Back down to 0. Right? I mean, what else are you going to do? Because you want role play where people are doing stories, where you want Wild RP's story tellers. You want people like that, or at least somewhere in that general ballpark. You want them in your server. You don't really want. What's the point of doing the software just so people come and just run around and act like idiots? I don't think there's one. So that's a thing. Now, that kind of crew with the hijinks, it is possible that these corporate sounding people, that is a natural reaction to the battle to keep serious-minded people in. It may be this error in this erroneous assumption that people have that in order to keep the more serious-minded role players, you have to be kind of corporate. You have to sound very professional. That is not the case. If that were the case, there would be no rock bands. There would be no hip-hop bands. They wouldn't exist because you can't act like a fucking professional and sing a song. I'm sorry, the two things don't go together. So it's all a balance, and I tend to think that the balance should always lean toward being creative and being a creative person, not a corporate person. An honest creative person where you can kind of let you can relax and let your hair down when you do this. You can be foolish. You can do stupid things, like you can talk like in a ridiculous accent. You can have fun, And that's just my thing. So anyway, this is all fascinating as I go through this process and try to make this thing, you know, relatively good. What was the other thing I was working on last week? I had a thing going over up here where I wanted to, yeah, the water pump. I made it so that you can, because you can pump and bottle water. So, yeah, there's some pumps I'm going to do 4 waters. Yeah, I got it doing this thing, but the water is sort of off because this pump isn't really set up for that. And I was like, well, whatever. The other pumps, like in Blackwater, are different. They have a bucket right under there, and it works. It looks better.
I hear the railroad companies are talking.
So, but anyway, that fills up your wherever it is, this, which I actually need to drink now anyway. And I improved the drinking animation and everything like that. So I knew there was something actually useful I could talk about. But, oh, and I made steak and potatoes actually work. You can craft steak and potato dish. And I remember I had steak and potatoes over here last week and I crafted it, but I couldn't actually eat it. So if I don't know if I have enough. Yeah, I can make steak and potato meal. These are simple little things, you know. So now it puts it in my inventory. In here, where's steak and potatoes? It's a new one. I just added it. There it is. That's my steak and potatoes. But if you eat it, then it does that whole thing. And so it gives you a lot. It gives you like 800 of, it gives you like 800, you know, I call them calories. And so anyway, that's how that works. I scared that horse, didn't I? You know what? I'm gonna do that horse a favor. I'm gonna free him. Because he's going crazy.
Hello?
Now, you run along. Don't kick me. You see? Now he's happy. See that? All of a sudden, he's fine.
Howdy.
Uh-huh. Well, after all that yakking, I need a beer now. That was a long talk, wasn't it? Well, I think that's good. I just wanted to get those few new details on the record that I did with the special items and stuff like that. I could just get it down on the. I just like to have a record of these things, and then I move this stuff over to YouTube, and so it stays there. At least, ones that aren't total failures. I don't think I've had a single error this evening on this one. Hasn't been a single problem. So anyway, that's good enough.